another minute. We have a good agenda tonight.
Short.
Like I said, we have a good agenda tonight.
Before we start, Sunny, can I ask you a question?
I believe so.
Okay, yeah, this is off the record. Is there the current plan for city center, does it still include egress out on the north onto Fairway by Scout Park or no?
I don't believe so. Not on actual drive out to Fairway, no.
Okay, cool. All right. I know it was on there. Well, I couldn't recall whether that was on the plan or not. I did
let Commissioner Coleman and
I was just going to say, okay.
I see Pat. I see an American flag.
Looks like Andrea's still in the waiting room.
Nope, she's joining.
Oh, okay.
Brian Colbert. There's Brian Colbert.
There he is.
Hello. That's what I look like, young.
Okay. Let's call to order. If everybody would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody should mute themselves.
Okay, response to call of the community. Chairperson Taddy may ask staff to provide a response to Mr. Mayhaus regarding his comments made at December 9th, 2021, regular meeting about the proposed parking lot and wall for Camelback Park. I'm going to invite Sunny to speak on that.
Okay, I'm not certain that Mr. Mayhaus is on or in the meeting, but I did have an opportunity to speak with him since our last meeting. I left 2 phone messages for him, and then I actually happened to run into him personally, and we chatted for a little bit. He thanked me and the commission for allowing him to share his point of view. I also shared with him that we were working on a plan that has not been solidified yet, but there will be a parking lot somewhere in that area because it's a need. And he said, okay, I understand, but thank you for letting me share my views. So that's the update on that.
So now this is the actual call to the community. Is there anybody who signed up, or is there anybody online now?
No.
Okay. Staff reports, Public Works Monthly Report, presenter, Mr. Richard Alvarado, Director of Public Works. Take it away, sir.
Good evening, Chairperson Taddy, members of the RPG Commission. As you can see, it's a little light in the Public Works December report. Other than the routine maintenance, we didn't have a lot going on through the month of December with the holidays and staff's scheduled time off. So I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have anything regarding the Public Works report, anything that has to do with maintenance.
Take it away, Commissioner Fix.
I always have questions, don't I? I noticed that the light bulb is out at the Camelback Villanueva intersection. I don't know if anyone's reported that to you.
Actually, we have. Our
Okay.
staff has already reported it to APS, and before that, the Wigwam, the superintendent there, Chad, had brought that to my attention as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And just for future, sometimes APS is really quick about changing these bulbs, and sometimes, you know, their lead time is anywhere from 14 to 21 days. So hopefully it gets fixed soon. Any
Thank
other
you for that.
questions? Yeah, no problem.
Take it away, Commissioner Gertz.
Thank you. Just a question on the remainder of the trees that we didn't paint. Is that something that you think you'll have the staff take care of, or do you think is that something we would wait for another time where we maybe get together and do another event, or any thoughts on that?
No, yeah, it is on the radar there, if you could say. We were looking to have staff continue painting it. The orange trees on the Old Litchfield right-of-way area, but Sonny had brought into contact to me of the new liaison for the Girl Scout and the Troop 90, who is interested in doing some community projects. And so I will be contacting her to get more info on what she's able to do, but we're looking to potentially have them, Scout Troop 90 and the Girl Scouts, potentially paint the rest of the trees as part of their community badge, you could say.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Fix.
Richard, I meant to ask you, I apologize for a second question, but normally you have West Coast arborists this time of year clearing the fruit from the trees.
Yes.
In years past, we've opened that up to the community, that the community can sign up to get a bid from them and have them clear their trees. Is that going to be the case? Or, and if so, could we put something in our city line about that people could call, and schedule them to come out and clear their trees?
Yeah, I believe this is on our website. This was prepared before they started fruit picking, and it should be on the website. I know we've had some residents call in, and our admin assistant Stacy has taken a few calls and relayed that information to the residents on the fruit picking. There is a charge for small, medium, and large trees. I believe the price did not increase from last year's pricing, but the service is there. The resident just needs to follow kind of the instructions on and go from there. But the service is there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
All right, you're welcome.
Community and Recreation Services Monthly Report. Presenter, Trisha Cramer, Director of Community and Recreation Services. Take it away, Trisha.
Good evening, Chairman Taddy, RPG commissioners. It's nice to see you guys. I hope you had a good holiday. I'll highlight a couple of things on my report. First, I'd like to point out that my report is my December report. Somehow in the transition, it still says November on it. It is my December report for sharing with you guys here at the January meeting. Aquatics department is still in the off season, but they are starting to plan for the upcoming season. They are working on scheduling lifeguard training early in March, and are also working to get the pool motor on our baby pool fixed. It stopped operating and we're not quite sure why, but due to the holidays, we haven't been able to get someone to come out and take a look at it and get some bids in, but that is the plan for over the next couple of weeks. So we'll keep you updated on that. Preschool has been out for the holidays. They just came back on January 10th. And our ABC classes, those are our older kids that are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. They'll be doing their kindergarten readiness assessments throughout this month of January. So that'll be exciting to find out what kind of pace they're at in terms of meeting that preparedness for kindergarten. But right now, they're all doing great. In terms of community services, I think you guys were all aware that we did do our annual holiday home decorating contest. And we had our same 3 categories that we had been running over the last couple of years: the Clark Griswold category, Norman Rockwell category, and inflatable fun. And in case you guys were wondering who the winning homes were, I can tell you that the Clark Griswold category, the address for the winners was 1153 North Oro Vista. And that was the Show family home, Amy Chopin family. The Counts family won the Norman Rockwell display, 411 Redondo Drive West. And the Reb Toy family at 409 Redondo Drive West won for inflatable fun. And they were all fantastic, and our judges had a great time actually going around and taking a look. I think there were approximately 25 homes altogether that participated. So it was fun for them to do it, and probably just the right amount of homes in each category. It was split roughly evenly. So we appreciate all of the residents that did participate in the event again this year. In terms of youth sports, winter basketball games began last Saturday, and they're off to a great start. The league is completely full with roughly or maybe just over 500 kids. Is that right, Pat?
400.
400, sorry. But completely full for the first time since about 2017. So we're excited to see those numbers going up and the level of activity here in the community in terms of youth sports programming. Best sports skills classes are also in the works at the moment, and registration is open for spring tennis and spring sports. And in the spring, we offer basketball, flag football, and soccer. So if you know of anyone that needs to register their kiddos, we're happy to take those registrations and prepare them for the spring season. We just had the Litchfield Park Gathering this past weekend. If any of you were able to make it out, we hope you enjoyed it. I know I saw Commissioner Gertz and family there. He was walking around with a cornhusk doll in hand. So I know the kids took advantage of some of the kids' activities, and hopefully you enjoyed the event. And now we're preparing for, on Sunday, we have our next Arts in the Park concert on the Wigwam lawn. The 8 tracks will be playing oldies rock and roll from 3 to 5 p.m. So feel free to come on out and enjoy the concert. And then next weekend on the 22nd is the annual Trout Fishing Derby. And we have 164 designated spaces this year. We're offering those spaces for a morning session and afternoon session. Our morning session sold out earlier today, so all 164 spaces are sold. And our afternoon session, which is our fun, non-competitive session, 113 out of the 164 spaces are currently filled. So if you are interested in participating in that, get your spaces quickly. They're going fast, and we are taking the registrations online through eventbrite.com. And with that, I'll open it up to any questions you guys may have for me.
I have one question. For the basketball you mentioned was full. Are we, I guess, well, that's great news. And there's a lot of participation. I wonder if there were kids that weren't able to get in that wanted to get in, and if we're looking at expanding the program perhaps for next year.
I'm going to defer to Pat on that one as to whether they're studying expanding or not.
So use all the school's gyms, and it just comes down to obviously hours that we are able to get that reserved without making it a much longer day. Our goal is to be able to provide as much as we can, but it also just comes down to time frame and how many games we're able to provide them. This year we actually did work it out where we actually went over in rookie, and we usually max out at 80. And before registration ended, we had enough on the wait list to add 2 more teams there. So we made that change. And then dribbler, we also had enough on the wait list to make 2 extra teams too in dribblers. So we had really good numbers this year. Senior, we went from 40 in the fall to 60. Normally, like I said, we max out with the 80 kids. So we were able to kind of adjust the school to take the 2 spots that senior usually would have and add it to the rookie teams. So it just right now, it just being the first time where we're at now, it's something in the future. If we hit this consistently to be able to provide more, we will. But I just want to make sure before trying to expand that we keep what we're getting. So outside of the dribbler and the rookie this season, the rest of them we only have like 1 or 2 on the wait list, and it's not enough to make it seem like there's a lot of interest that they're like who wasn't able to get in was not able to get in. So
Okay, great. Yeah, that's good to hear.
Thank you, Tricia. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
Business. Approval of minutes. Presenter, Marissa Romo, Deputy City Clerk.
Thank you. Thanks. Chairperson Taddy and Commissioners, the minutes are in the packet. Unless there's any questions, I just need a motion for approval.
I'll motion to approve the minutes.
A second.
Are there any questions? All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 All opposed? Minutes have been approved. Memorial Bench Program. Presenter, Richard Alvarado, Director of Public Works. Take it away, sir.
Let me unmute myself here. Thank you, Chairperson Taddy. Members of the commission. So what we have here is the Memorial Bench Program update. I know this program has had questions in the past. So staff has been working on updating it and working on seeing if we can provide more of a bench program for residents and others to donate or purchase a memorial bench if they would like. So I'm going to kind of run through some of this background of some of the information that we do have already. So our staff is currently working on updating this memorial bench program. And what we found is under the previous bench program, the cost to purchase a memorial bench was $350, and no lifespan was given with the purchase of this bench. The current concrete bench you see out there with the backing, we found is no longer available for future purchase. And with that, the vendor who provided these benches for us would do the backing. Normally it would come with just the base, just the bench itself. But the backing is no longer available. So staff is reviewing what previous information we do have, and we've yet to determine if previous plaques and benches will be carried over, as benches need to be replaced. So these benches will only be replaced if the current bench is a safety hazard or damaged. Our public works staff will determine this as needed. In the revised memorial bench program, what we have is the cost of the bench is $2,500 with a 10-year lifespan. And what's included in this is the bench with plaque, freight charge, materials, and installation. The amount is comparable to other city bench programs, is what we have found. And attached, you'll have in your packet is the information and application to purchase a memorial bench. Staff will be working on inventorying the current number of benches throughout the city. And with this would include the current conditions of the bench, plaque, style, and bench space availability. The process is expected to take a few months for staff to complete. And as we move forward with this, staff will keep the commission informed as the process moves forward, and we have more information. So with that, I'll take any questions you may have on the Memorial Bench Program information we have so far.
Vice Chair Phillips, take it away.
I have two questions right now. After the 10 years, if I want to renew my bench, I've already bought it and paid for the shipping and installation renewal amount. I'll pay for another 10 years?
You're kind of breaking up there.
Oh, shoot. Darn it.
But I think I got a little bit of it. If you purchase your bench.
I'm going to go plug in my Ethernet. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm gonna take a guess, but I think I got the gist of what she was saying. So I purchased a bench now. 10 years from now, I want to re-up. Is the price the same, or is it offered to me at a discount at that point?
As of right now, I'm going to have to get back to you on that. That's a good question.
In the
Sonny's
second
got one.
paragraph on this, on the form, it says that they'll have the opportunity to fund at the current replacement cost.
But that doesn't seem right.
I think what we're missing there is that if you have it for the lifespan.
No, but not on the new one.
No, I think that is what it says. It says when the lifespan of the bench has been reached and requires replacement, the donor will have the option. So I'm reading that as you got this bench as long as this bench lasts.
Yes.
It'd be the estimate's 10 years, right? I'd for $3,500, I'd almost want a guarantee of 10 years. Like, hey, if something happens and it's vandalized, like the city will take care of that. You're not going to come back to me a year and a half later and go, hey, your bench was vandalized. Do you want to pay another $3,500 for your memorial bench you paid for? That would feel wrong. I don't know. I don't think we would do that, but I'd almost think like $3,500 for 10 years seems like a reasonable exchange for the city to then take the responsibility for ensuring it lasts 10 years.
Wait.
Or a minimum guarantee of some sort, like 7.
Sonny, did you have an answer for that?
No, they actually cleared it up. You have the bench as long as the bench lasts. In other words, it's not going to be 10 years and you go, well, your time's up. As long as that bench is working and in good shape, it's your bench.
Yes, that's correct. Yes,
Okay.
but Commissioner Gertz has a great point. Like, if the resident is paying $2,500 and 2 years into purchase for like a 10-year warranty, that is a question if the city will repurchase that bench if it's vandalized. Because vandalism, as you know, in our city, we do tend to get quite a bit of vandalism as far as graffiti and, damaging. Sometimes we see some of these amenities, which still need to be replaced, burnt because they're set on fire. So I'm just not sure on quite sure on the answer to give for the vandalism if we're going to replace that in a year or two, because I think it'd be hard for us as a city to guarantee there's not going to be vandalism to a bench or any property. But I can see where on a consumer side, after a year or two and you're paying $2,500 for a bench, you're going to want it to last for quite a while, if not the 10-year.
Question?
Fire away, Brian. Commissioner
Do we
Fink?
know oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brian. Faith.
Oh, I was gonna ask if it's limited to city residents, because
No.
I mean, 10 years is like a long time. People move out of the city.
Yes.
And
Um,
if there is vandalism, maybe that plaque can just be moved to the new bench. Like, I'm not sure if the plaque is removable. It doesn't necessarily make sense for the city to be paying for a custom engraved plaque again for this person. But perhaps it could just be relocated and the city's replacing the bench anyways.
We can look into having a better answer for you on this. But yeah, great question.
And my other thought about giving, I don't know if this form is final that you've got up on the screen.
No, sir, it is not.
Okay.
Both of these, this is what staff is just working on to kind of update the older program. Again, with this can change. This is subject to change until we have a final program and are able to inventory our benches and taking a look at the plaques that are out there now and bench space, bench availability, if we're able to offer this program to our residents, or would you say outside of the city residents as well. So this can change.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I have a little bit of hesitancy with giving them a written opportunity to say they will have the opportunity to fund a replacement bench. And I wonder if we're going to end up in the same situation that we are in now, where these benches were given an unlimited life. Whereas if we give them the opportunity, we have to give them an opportunity and we can't get a hold of them or they're gone. So yes. I would just suggest maybe we clarify those things. Really just my thoughts on this.
Thank you for that. Commissioner Colbreth? Brian?
Thank you. Do we know, does the city have insurance against vandalism, or do they just pay out of pocket if a bench is vandalized? Do we know that offhand?
I'd have to get back to you on that, unless Sonny, if you don't mind, if you have the answer to this one.
We have a deductible like any insurance policy may be, so it would depend on what that deductible is, and I don't know the answer to that. But we do have insurance on everything we own, but there is a certain deductible that you have to pay up front, and once you exceed that, then the insurance kicks in. So Brian, I'm not sure what the answer is, but yeah, we do have insurance.
Okay. And then second question is the 10-year lifespan, is that from the manufacturer, or is that just our estimate based on experience?
Actually, the vendor where we're getting these benches through, they actually have a 20-year guarantee or warranty on the bench. And that is solely when it's placed out there, water. It will, let me go back. The warranty doesn't cover water damage, sun, anything of that nature, and vandalism. It does not cover that.
Right.
But their warranty is 20 years. Personally, I think 20 years is that's a long warranty. I don't foresee even this bench lasting that long. If it does, awesome. But a 10-year is what staff had recommended and felt that 10 years would be a good warranty period for this bench.
Okay, thank you.
Vice Chair Phillips?
I guess my question is on the plaque. Are there other options besides a pretty small 4x6 brass one? Because you got to get really close to see who that is. And I don't know if there might be a better option as far as weather than brass, because a lot of them do get hit by sprinklers and brass kind of gets nasty looking when it gets wet. Or is there another option maybe?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure on that. I know that, with this being an outdoor bench, they use some good material, and we actually took out a little bit of their warranty on it, stating that, it wouldn't rust. I believe everything, being in the public works and maintenance side, I think a lot of that stuff, it just doesn't last
Right.
as long as they normally would say, especially being out in the city park and in the open. Things are, there's elements that you just can't control, versus being in like your backyard or somewhere safe. So I can definitely look into that, but the 4x6 states that it's a decent plaque, and what we had written on there is maximum of 120 characters, which includes punctuation and the spaces.
Right, spaces.
And we went off of that from a previous plaque that we had, where it had quite a few, like in loving memory of this person, and it had names of people who had donated on that bench. And there was I want to say about 5 lines on there. So in looking at that plaque, we felt like we could limit the characters at 120 and give, the resident who's purchasing this bench a good amount of space to write what they would like. The font does change on this plaque, as far as like if we were the vendor would actually have an unlimited amount of characters, but if you were to write a paragraph, then the font would be a lot smaller. So we did take that into consideration about the size and the max characters on there, and we're trying to get the vendor to see if we can just have a set font, if you could say like one size and that's it. So if you decided to say in loving memory of Litchfield family, and that was it, versus that font would be the same size as if you said in loving memory from the Smith family and Anderson family, or you just kept going, it would be this kind of the same font size.
Okay, one more question. Is the plaque comes from the bench company?
Yes.
Okay. And that's their only size and material option?
I believe so. I believe it is.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Fix?
And real quick, just to kind of clarify on your question there, does a plaque come from the bench company? It does. The bench company actually has a vendor separate from them who does the plaques. But as the time goes, if this were to be purchased and a plaque went missing or something like that, and if Public Works were to replace that, we don't necessarily have to order from that company. We can look at a local company for replacements. But the initial, when they buy it, that plaque would come from the company's vendor there.
Richard, if I may, is this program replacing the benches around the community, or are these new benches within the community?
These are new benches within the community.
Okay, so these are in new locations, new areas.
Okay, I apologize on that one. These benches will be replacing benches that are no longer usable or unsafe or deteriorating.
Okay. I feel from a consumer standpoint, all they're really buying is that plaque. And 10 years, I feel, is a long time to have that relationship with that bench. I think people, I don't know, I feel that we could have the bench. If they want to buy the brand new bench, that's fine. And then give them options, every 5 years or something to renew the bench, but not have to buy the whole bench again. Because those to me look like those could be, obviously they're powder coated, right? So those, maintenance wise, those to me look like they could be repainted every, 10 years or whatever is needed. But I don't feel that that's a cost that should be passed on to the consumer for a 4x6 plaque. That's just my take on it.
Okay. They so these benches are like plastic coated, if you would say. So they're a thick plastic coated. So they are steel, but they're thick plastic coating around it. I believe it's 1/8 inch thick plastic coating on there. But yeah, we can look into that and consider that, what you were saying with the 5 years of having the option to, I believe you said rebuy or repurchase.
Do we need to repurchase them? Don't they just need to be refreshed with a coat of paint or a coat of something and then the plaque remade? I mean, I think those plaques, honestly, you could probably get a plaque like that for $10. I mean, I've made them for sign companies before, and even at the Wigwam, we would replace the name placards on the awards at the Wigwam, and they were like $5 for a little, a nameplate with a date. Obviously, when there's more text involved, that's, more costly, but I don't think the consumer has to buy the new bench every 10 years. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking at it from the wrong perspective. I guess I'm not understanding what's being sold to the community. A brand new bench with a placard that's good for 10 years. Is that just how we're going to leave it? What about the ones that aren't sold? The benches have to be replaced anyway, right?
The benches do have to be replaced, and you're correct. I don't believe we'd leave it open. That's a big question that I had. Benches that needed to be replaced, and we purchased this bench, and how would the consumer feel about purchasing a bench for $2,500, which is already in place in the park? As a consumer, they're looking at it like, hey, I'm buying this for $2,500. I want it fresh out the box and installed. So that's a big question as well. And again, a big point in the communication there is we as a staff need to look into what we're going to be doing with benches that already have plaques on there. And do we have information on it or do we not? And are they going to roll over? Are the plaques going to roll over for when we do purchase a new bench? Mm-hmm. So there's still a lot of questions that need to be answered, and these are things that we're working on. So I love the feedback on here as far as questions. coming from the commission. And, you know, again, we'll continue to look into this and hopefully make a good bench program for the residents.
Vice Chair Phillips, do you have another question? Your hand is still raised in the corner.
I do have a question, or pegging on what Susan said. So if I have a bench right now, and a lot of them really are in bad shape, are you going to come to me and say, do you want to update yours to the new product? And, you know, here's how much it's going to cost. So that's one thing, one concern I had. Then another idea that I had is maybe you only get the bench for 5 years and you rent it sort of for 5 years. And then if that 5 years is up and you want to renew your bench, you can renew your bench. I've seen in other cities where you pay every single year for your bench. Now it's not thousands of dollars. And if you don't want to renew, a lot of the benches aren't this style and it's not a brass plaque, but you could always replace it. It's a slat and the name is engraved in the slat. And if I don't want to renew next year, the slat comes out and the new person's goes in. So maybe there's a way to do it for a shorter amount of time because of cost. I don't know, you know, and give more people options rather than just say you get it till it disintegrates for $2,500.
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
Thought. Thank you.
Commissioner Gertz.
About to say something along the same lines where I think we're mixing up ownership here, and you're not owning something, you're not purchasing something, you're creating you're essentially creating a memorial for a period of time, and conflating that with the ownership of a bench, I think is what we're all struggling with being problematic. And then the lifespan of that bench, and what if it's vandalized? We just say reduce price. Hey, you want a memorial plaque for X amount of years for Y amount of money, and it may not be the full purchase price of a bench. Might be a lower entry point for a lot of folks, and then just have an easy, like, hey, every 5 years you got the option to renew, every 2 years, whatever we decide. And whether that bench is replaced or not replaced is really none of your concern at that point.
Yeah. That's
Commissioner Schwartz.
those are great points.
Commissioner Schwartz.
So, you know, my take on this is that this is the kind of thing you want to go back and show your grandchildren someday, kind of like a memorial brick. And if it happens to last that long, that's great. I think about the bench over here, the guy I used to work with, his daughter's name's on the bench, Mackenzie Huffman, because his in-laws used to live across the street right off of Villanueva. And you know, he told me about that bench, and it had been there for 15 years when he had told me about it. I agree that they're not owning the bench, but they're sponsoring it is what they're doing. It's kind of like when you put your plaque on a bar stool at the Elks Lodge. You know, you're sponsoring that bench, and if it happens to need repair, there's no guarantee of how long it'll be there. But I think it sounds like a hassle to have people renew them every 5 years, not only for the city, but for the customers too. So that's my 2 cents.
Commissioner Faith, did you also have a question?
Oh, I was going to comment, and I totally agree with what Commissioner Schwartz was saying. And I mean, I think our target, the people that are going to be buying these are going to be people who, you know, a loved one died or someone important in the community died, or business owners. So it's more of a donation to buy something of limited quantity to memorialize it. It's not so much owning the bench. I think $2,500 seems reasonable, and depending on our cost of doing it, might even be cheap, and that you put it there for as long as it lasts. And yeah, that'd be my suggestion.
Thank you, sir. Can I ask a question, and this might be for Sonny or Richard? Is there already an allocated amount of money in next year's budget to purchase 20 benches or 10 benches or whatever? Are we reliant on the 2,500 from somebody sponsoring a bench to replace a bench that's in bad shape? Sonny or Richard?
Yeah.
That's a Richard question.
For next year, there is no allocated funds specifically to purchase benches for this program.
Is there any idea on how many benches are in bad shape enough or are damaged enough that we would have to, is that part of what you were talking about earlier where you mentioned you were inventorying the current benches?
Yes, that's what we need to do to get a better idea of what is out there in the community. As of right now, with this bench, we have purchased 7 of these, I believe, as well as a table, a 4x6 table, I believe it is, and we have these benches to be replaced in a few parks. And because those benches are already a safety hazard, they need to be removed. And so we have a few of these coming. Now, the ones that we do not have the plaque or the space for the plaque, but it is the same style of bench. And if those benches were to have plaques, or we decided to replace the plaque, or again, somebody wanted to, purchase or donate for one of these benches, we would just simply purchase the plaque and secure it on those benches. But moving forward, we're going to have to look into allocating funds for this, for the bench replacement. So as we do the inventory, I'm sure that we're going to find benches that are not in good shape, probably unsafe, need to be replaced immediately, or may have still a little time left on them. But this is going to be some of the information that we're looking to get when we do the inventory of these benches.
Do we know how many benches are going to go in the city center park? No?
I don't think we have a number.
Yeah, we don't have a number. And there's actually a style of bench, I believe. I don't know if it's set in stone yet, but there is a style of bench that has been proposed already to go throughout the city center.
So and that was a follow-up thought I had. Would there ever be a time when a bench in city center would be worth more than a bench in an outlying area that maybe is not seen as much? I almost, I think that 2,500 is a little pricey, but I think that, just to put my 2 cents in, but I think that over the course of 20 years, it's probably not that pricey. So it's kind of like a time frame thing. And I also think that a bench staring right at the stage at City Center Park might be one that more people are going after for Memorial than one on the pathway from La Loma down to Fairway. Just a thought. Are there any other questions? Thank you, Richard.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Yard of the Quarter nominations. Presenter, Anthony Taddy, chairperson. The last page in your packet, everybody, is the Yard of the Quarter grading chart. As you can see, we got 7 nominations. as this is a part of what we do on the RPG Commission, it's outstanding that we got 7 nominations. Thank you, everybody, for that. Are there any questions on any of the grading categories in the grid?
What's the time frame to get it to you?
Probably the week prior to
City council
the next. That's in the packet is actually a fillable PDF. Following today's meeting, well, probably next week, I'll get it emailed out to everybody, and then you'll have up until the week prior to your next regular meeting to send me your completed sheets. There's a submit button right on the form. It just opens up your email and it sends it right to me. So if anybody has any questions following that, you know, you can always reach out, but that's kind of the format I went with. If there's any issues, we can test out other formats, but.
That sounds great. Commissioner Fix, take it away.
I just wanted to thank Marissa for creating that fillable form. That is going to make my life so much easier. I was already looking at this thinking I have to print that out, go drive by all those houses, fill out each thing. So now I can just make notes at each home and fill it in when I get home. So thank you for taking the time to do that for us. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And so each category also adds it at the end. So you should just put your numbers in that you grade each home. It should automatically tally everything for you.
Anthony, we're just going to use whole numbers this time, right?
It only allows whole numbers. I did not
Thank
add
you.
any.
Thank you, thank
Oh,
you.
yeah. What level of precision did you know?
Marissa.
I don't think it
No.
was precision, Christoph. I think it was annoyance.
Foolproof.
It's hard to differentiate sometimes. The
Correct.
decimals really help.
If you try to add a decimal, it won't let you. Sorry.
I'll just have to make do.
Is it gonna need to get to you by the 4th of December? Of February?
So we're looking at the calendar now. It sounds like the 4th of February is the due date. Get this to Marissa before the 4th of February. Is that good?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any questions?
They should all go look.
Definitely would love to see everybody take the trip out and take a look at these homes and fill out the sheet and submit it.
Participation is a requirement.
Participation is a requirement. Okay. Commissioners report on current events. Does anybody have anything to say about current events?
Call them by name.
Sunny, do you need helpers handing out stuff at Arts in the Park?
That would be a Trisha question.
Oh, sorry, Trisha. Do you need helpers?
We'll never refuse help, Andy. So
Okay.
if you're around for the concert and want to come help pass out the flyers early in the concert or before the
Okay.
concert gets going, sure. Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
Commissioner Gertz, take it away.
Just commend the city staff for the recent events that we had, Christmas in the Park, the gathering that we had previous weekend here, all great stuff.
I couldn't agree more. Outstanding. Commissioner Schwartz?
Wanted to just commend Pat and his staff. They had the first week of the basketball. I know Marissa mentioned that earlier. And one of the nice things is we had a couple of high school students, it seems like, volunteering so they didn't have to, cajole all the parents to volunteer at the scorer's table and whatnot. And so the first week went well. Good job, Pat.
Okay, topics for referral to City Council. Does anybody have a topic for referral to City Council?
No.
That only leaves one last thing to do then, guys.
Can I make a
Does
motion
anybody-
to adjourn?
Yes, you can.
I'll second it.
All in favor of adjournment, raise your hand, say aye.
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 All opposed? Okay. Motion passed. We are adjourned. Thank you,
Good night,
everybody.
everyone.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.
Night.
Thank you, everyone.